Very few take a chance to give up a permanent job and switch to the terrain of an uncertain entrepreneurship.
Right.
And that requires a lot of courage and conviction. The guest that we have today, Dr. Chef Avin Thaliath, is someone who had a permanent job at a university, but then at some point you decided that you want to become an entrepreneur. And I still remember a comment which you had made, at the time when you made that decision. You said it's good to fail early,
Yeah.
because even if I fail, I have an option to come back and try out on whatever I can, possibly do. And you took that calculated risk. So I think it required a lot of courage, conviction, commitment to build an institution. And on behalf of the Truecopythink, I welcome you at first.
Thank you.
For joining us for this conversation. Dr. Avin is not just a chef. You're an author. You've been a mentor. You've been a speaker, a trainer, a guide. You're wearing multiple caps, and that in itself makes this conversation, quite. I'm looking forward to having this conversation. My first question is about the courage to make a decision. What was that internal conversation that you had which made you switch from permanency to jump into this terrain of entrepreneurship?
I think, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. What's my courage? I still don't know why I took that risk. At that point of time, whatever you are thinking is right, because you are very young. You don't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
The only thought process when my parents asked me what you are going to do, you have a very good job. Like at a very young age to be an assistant professor in a university of world repute, and then you are going to leave all that and you are going to start something. What is your thought process behind this? I said, I'm too early to teach. I was just 27, 28. And then I said, it is too early for me to teach. Point number one. Point number two, I'm not going to leave teaching completely. I'm going to start an academic space.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, what will happen? I will fail. I will learn from that. I'll go back to the industry. I'll make money. And I will ask the university again if they want to hire me as a teacher at one point of time. And I come from a family of only teachers. Dad, mom, both my sisters, all are in the academic space. But there is something which was not making me comfortable was, let's say, every year, 2nd of June, the college opens, right? For us in Bangalore. I knew exactly June 10th, 2026 what to teach. 2027, June 10th, this is the same topic that I'm going to teach. I never created a knowledge. And that was affecting me a lot. In the sense that I was too comfortable. I knew if I'm going to put a sum on the board, I knew exactly what that next zero is going to be. What's that number going to be? Because it's like a routine. It's like last 12 years you are teaching the same thing. You are not creating a knowledge. It is just burning inside. And it has its restrictions to how much to teach, what to teach, what not to teach. Because whatever you have to teach in 4 hours that is being given to you. If it is a theory class, it is just 1 hour. But what I learned, what I put a lot of effort to unlearn and relearn this entire thought process of cuisine and baking sciences and pastry arts, I was really suffocated inside. Mean to say that I just wanted to create a space, to be in a space where I can create knowledge and I can give it back to the society and the country that gave me everything. And the risk that I took, I never knew that I was taking a risk because my parents, my sisters, my teachers, my mentors, everyone supported me, telling that when you go for a walk, there will be a lot of dogs barking at you. Doesn't mean that you have to bark at them back. Or saying that, okay, worst case scenario, what will happen? You tried, you failed, go back to the industry. Industry will be happy to take you, because National Geographic Channel says that every 3 seconds there is a job opportunity that is born in the hospitality industry. And I decided to preach what I learned. And also, I was teaching, this was the game changer. It happened in the university itself. While I was talking about entrepreneurship to MBA students, you know how humongous our auditorium is. Some 2,500 MBA students are seated, and I'm talking about entrepreneurship. One of the students got up and asked me, what qualifies you, in double inverted commas, huh? No water added to this, what qualifies you to talk about entrepreneurship? I spoke about this in our initial challenges in Christ with one of the talks that you have invited for. And I was puzzled. I was perplexed. I said, at this point of time, I don't have an answer for you. But count me. 2 years from now, I'll come back with an answer. And that answer was Lavon.
Yeah. I was going through also your profile, and I found that you've done hotel management, then you've done human resource management, then you did a PhD in another discipline. Now, what I understand is it has been a transdisciplinary learning. I mean, it has been multidisciplinary learning which made you what you are today. So how has all of these learnings helped you in probably curating your idea, curating you as an individual, and also the institution that you've built?
So first and the foremost, though it is multidisciplinary, but it's all connected in one way or another strategically in my head at this point of time. I did my hotel management. It was 4 years of hotel management. And then I worked in the industry. When I came back, my entire family, they're all master degree holders. And then I was forced to do a master's, because otherwise my parents wouldn't have allowed me to, work in the industry. So I decided to do an MBA. MBA, I had two options. One was MBA in finance or MBA in human resources. That was the early option in front of us at that point of time. I decided the easy way. That was the human resources. Little that I knew that it is as complicated as the financial discipline is concerned. So I'm very grateful that I took that decision of doing masters, because it helped me to think beyond a subject. For example, let's say if I was taught how to make a brownie, or let's say a bread in BHM, we were never taught how to sell that. But MBA taught. Now, thinking about, so while I was doing my hotel management, I was on a scholarship to France. And then there are two disciplines that combines together in a country like France. Okay. That is food and wine. We are specialized in food handling as well as in handling the wines. But there is no discipline as a subject that is being taught in India called as wines. Okay. So I decided to do my MPhil. That was a small project. I converted that into a PhD and decided to combine the aspects of wine and food together. So it taught me how to make a brownie. MBA taught me how to sell the brownie. PhD allowed me to do the research and to see what is not written in this world and to create a knowledge around it to influence and also to give an impression to the people to understand this subject little better than what people already perceive it as.
Since you mentioned about PhD, I'm assuming you are the first chef to hold a PhD.
In India, yes.
In India, you are the first one.
In India, not as a, how will I say, there are people who got doctorate before, but without writing a thesis.
Okay, honorary.
I mean, I don't want to use the word honorary because I feel honorary is
as good as
buying a PhD.
right.
This is your words. I mean, I'm not I'm not mixing this, but I felt that that was very easy. At one point of time, I think entire universities in India, it was mandatory. If you want to teach in a university, it was mandatory to do PhD. I think things have changed right now. I also went into that flow.
Okay.
But what motivated me to do it is because it's a subject which I'm deeply passionate about. If I don't make use of that opportunity at that point of time, I wouldn't have done that PhD, nor would have deliberated this to the world of chefs. One of the first chefs who have a PhD in India.
A real PhD.
A real PhD. I don't know whether you can call it as real.
Yeah.
But I took 6 years to write my thesis. Okay. And I was very clear about it. There were easy ways to get this done, but my guide didn't allow me to do it. So I'm ever grateful to sir, who guided me wholeheartedly, who pulled his strings to tell that, enology can be a subject. It was never a mainstream subject that you could do a PhD on. But I said, why you are forcing me to do a PhD on human resources when I'm not passionate about it? So Sir fought for it, and I took almost about 3 years to convince the members in the panel to tell that, why can't he do this? Enology is not a subject in the country. It is not it's not a subject in Asia. Someone has to support this. So what Sir did was, Sir was guiding me. Alongside that, there was a guide parallelly in the United States who were guiding me, co-guided me in the process of writing this PhD.
Interesting. So the other aspect, I wish to go back to the risk part which you mentioned. You said you never felt that it was risk at that point in time because you were very young when you got into entrepreneurship. But still, was there any risk? I mean, generally, the parents have this tendency of making their children either a doctor or an engineer. Is a time when somebody has decided to become a chef. So was there any sort of a resistance from your family, your friends, your colleagues who would have discouraged you? Was it a calculated risk that you've taken, that you had taken at that point in time? Or for you, wasn't it a risk at all? Was it clarity for you?
None of this, sir. I will tell you why. When a small baby is born, when he's just 6 months or 7 months or 1 year old, and then there is a candle lit, the baby doesn't know that it is going to burn his hands unless you touch it. I touched it, then I realized that it was a huge risk that I was taking. In risk in terms of convincing yourself, you also need some money to live in this world, right? Then there are about, that point of time, we had almost about 6 employees that we have to pay the salary for. And then you are leaving all that legacy of teaching in one of the best universities in the country, in Asia, all that, and you are leaving all that and going and starting something. So risk can be, the word risk can be interpreted, I think, in so many ways. If you knew that it was a risk, then it is a risk. For me, I was not knowing it was a risk until I touched it. Now when I'm thinking, 14 years back, it is easy for me to think now, right? 14 years back when we started Lavon, we knew that it was risk, but what's the extent of the risk was shown to us in a different way later. The people criticize you, tell that, what a risk that you have taken only when you fail. So success has many fathers. Failure is always an offer. When you were very successful, people never reminded us about the risk. When you failed, that is when the people started talking about what a huge risk that you have taken. You wouldn't have taken the risk. You had a cushion job. You left everything to start something. All those things came later. My parents told one thing. Till the time we can work, you don't have to be worried about it. Never pressurized me to do engineering, doctor, though my family is only about 3 professions, rather 4 professions. Chartered accountants, engineers, doctors, and lawyers. No one has heard about a profession beyond this because it is very, very academically prolific family. my mom and my dad both have 11 siblings. So each kid got 3 kids. So you can think about the pressure that I would have faced that point of time when I say I want to take hotel management. Forget about being a chef. Chef was something I developed in the second year of my hotel management. I thought that everyone is going to be wearing a suit under the AC, walk around, boss around, and that's the impression that was given in 2002 when I wanted to join hotel management. But things got different. And how many schools, how many colleges, how many hotels were there that point of time? There were only 3: Taj, Oberoi's, and ITC. Everyone used to call a small peticada also as hotel. No, things changed now. But now also, if it says hotel so and so, no one knew. Everyone told that you are going to do. I forgot the word. What do you call a chef in Malayalam? I mean, in a very colloquial way. You are going to be a bawarchi in Hindi.
Okay.
I don't know what do you call that in Malayalam. But then too, everyone told that, why you are such a brilliant student, why you want to be a bawarchi? It started from the school principal where I studied to now also I once in a while I hear the same comment. But everything has strengthened me. Everything has taught me how not to think on those lines. Yeah. And also the success is only for those who take that risk. That's what you also have taught in your college. This is something which Jane Matthews are taught. In the first day of the class in accountancy, Sir was teaching accountancy. And accountancy is a new subject for us. And he told, you are taking risk. What do you get out of taking that risk? So we told this, that. He said, profit. To communicate that in balance sheet terms, profit or loss, higher the risk that you take, higher the profit is, and so on and so forth. And his lectureship is like 1 hour of pin drop silence, because he's a big persona that is coming to the class first of all, and everyone is scared of him. He was the HOD of another department. He comes to the class and he takes the class, and then I realized that whatever all the instructors or teachers have spoken in any class for that matter, small or big, made a big difference in my life. So risk, coming back to the risk, I was not knowing, so I was taking a big risk unless I touched it.
But what was that fundamental mind shift which had happened when you switched from permanency to an impermanent, or rather risk taking? Because why I'm asking this is, while you were teaching, you were a part of a system.
Right.
But when you started establishing an institution, you are creating a system.
Yeah.
So what was that sort of fundamental change that you had in your approach?
So I think that is also one of those concerns with the generation. The generation is not happy to follow a system. I was happy to follow the system because I was asked to, I was forced to follow that system. But given a chance, if you ask me if I had that option of teaching my students without fear, without the fear for attendance, without the fear of certain consequences that can happen out of this fear that I'm going to instill in the students, I would have done that. I became a different person altogether. I became chill out Avin Thaliath to Professor Avin Thaliath. And I was wearing a mask when I was taking a class. You have to be in formals. You have to be dressed in a certain way. Point number 1. Dressed, and to teach a class like Christ University. I mean, that is where I was
started
teaching.
Your career.
I not started my career. That is my third job.
Okay.
You have to learn at least 10 hours to take 1.5 hours of lecture. 10 hours. I'm not even adding water to this entire statement. If you learn 10 hours, you can deliver a 1.5 hours of lecture correctly. And this is something which I am religiously following. Because my parents also taught me, my dad especially told that, you should never go to the class without preparing yourself. That's the only thing that I want to tell you. And I follow till today. If I'm not confident, I will tell that, sorry, I can't take this class. And I've told this to all the instructors at Lavon
Lavon.
also. I told them, if you are not ready, don't go to the class. It's okay. They can wait. But don't go going unprepared and pretend as if you are taking a big class. That is a big no for me. Because for the students, it is an experience, a class. For you, you will get this class tomorrow with another batch. But the students, you will never get that experience. It's a perishable item. It's a perishable class. Mean to say that you are going to a class thinking that you are going to hear this from XYZ professor. And just because you are not in a good mood, you fought with your wife, you fought with your people, and you are not in a position to deliver what has been expected, then there is a fundamental problem. So this was my concept. Irrespective of whether you are prepared, not prepared, you can go to a classroom, which was against my ethics, my values, my value points, and so on and so forth. I had a great learning by teaching students. Probably 5% of the knowledge that I have in terms of my discipline is concerned. Probably 3% is developed by just teaching this. So I'm ever grateful to the university who gave me an opportunity to learn, to unlearn and relearn and teach and continue teaching. But there is something inside me told me that, you know what, you are not creating this knowledge. You are not doing enough. You are teaching a plus b the whole square, a square plus 2ab plus b square, that someone has written. What is your contribution in that? For this, you can just ask the students to read and come.
Especially in the age of AI, ChatGPT,
exactly. I mean, that time there is no ChatGPT also.
Google.
Google. Then I realized that students want an easy way out. The effort that you are taking to teach in the classroom versus the effort that has been taken by the students to comprehend this, there was no match. Then majority of the teachers feel bad. Majority of them feel unmotivated because the effort is not being shown in the class. Then I realized that your teaching style should match with the learning style of the student to be a great teacher. For example, let's say if your teaching style and my learning style is matching, then you are the best teacher for me. If it is not matching, because I'm a different learner, I might be a visual learner, I might be a kinesthetic learner, I might be a audio learner, my teaching style matches with your learning style, then we are great both. Like, you are the best student for me, I might be the best teacher for you. But it became one sambar in my head. Like, I was just asking myself, you want to be a chef? You want to be a teacher? You want to be a teacher chef? If you want to be a teacher chef, it can't be in a university because you have a fixed
system, structure,
fixed curriculum. I mean, Christ is at least doing the work of every year we have to change 20% of the curriculum. At Lavon, we changed the curriculum fully. What I teach this batch is never repeated in the next batch. Never repeated, except the basics part of. The basic will remain. That is the 1.5 months to 2 months after when they join Lavon. Then everything changes. So the challenges of 2012 was never the challenge of 2016, was not going to be the challenge of 2027. And we are aware about this. Something what we do here is that every year, every 2 years once, all of us go for a refreshment program, learn something, unlearn, relearn, come back to Lavon, and then only you can teach. And it is a mandatory thing as part of your appraisals are concerned. And what I really wanted, what I am doing at Lavon. What I really wanted to learn is what I teach at Lavon, which was constrained when it comes to a university atmosphere. So I was suffocated. I decided to speak to the chancellor that time, vice chancellor at that point of time. He said, you do what you feel is right about it. I spoke to my HOD. He said, you are being chained inside this space. There will be a time then you will tell that, why the HODs or the university didn't give you an opportunity to think beyond this. So this is the time. Worst case scenario, we are here to take you back. Don't worry, go ahead.
So it is that trust and confidence.
That is the second part of it. But in 2010, in the academic year beginning, the Vice Chancellor comes and address all the instructors. So he also uses the same word, which he said that now you are teaching entrepreneurship without you being an entrepreneur, without being you being an entrepreneur. How is that going to match? Then you are talking about excellence and service, and when it is only going to be only on papers and you really don't take it outside the classroom, then there is no point. So we are not rigid to tell you that, you have to teach only in the classroom. Take your classroom outside. And that is something which is a lot of academic freedom, right? Yeah. In 2010. And I'm very grateful that it was a 20-minute speech. And I remember every part of the speech. And he said that if someone wants to teach and start something, we are there to capital the entire expenses for you. 2010. Then I thought like, okay, risk is less. But when we got into the intricacies of this particular meeting, and it went in another direction where, you have to be inside the university. While you are running this, a part of the revenue goes to all these things were correct from the university standpoint also. I'm not even joking. But that suffocation of it, just like, I'm tying your hands and I'm telling that, you can't write.
I think it's all because you had that entrepreneur in you where you wanted to be your boss.
But now, after 14 years, I can tell that, sir. But when you have not started anything, then you cannot just tell that whether it is an intuition that you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to be a real entrepreneur. Like, you take a huge risk at this point of time telling that I want to play for Indian cricket. Now only 11 players play. You have to be really to be chosen out of 1.4 billion people to be in that Indian team, right? And this is the same risk that you take when it comes to the career. And also one part in me tells that now you have a 10 plus 2 plus 3 education, right, in India.
Right.
At what age you join college? You are 16 going to 70. You are not even 18-year-old.
Right.
If you want to get a driving license, you have to be 18. If you want to vote, you have to be 18. If you want to get married, it is 18 and 21. If you want to have drinking age, it is 18. College is 16 and a half. How does this make any sense?
A lot of the decisions eventually are made out of peer pressure. A lot of the decisions about the academics is also made by the parents.
Right.
And
also peer pressure. Like you are in a group of 6 people, 6 students, classmates. And one among is one of those, the banger of this group. And he's the one who influences everyone. He says that I want to take sports management. All the 5 wants to be sportsman without even thinking about it. Then they will introspect. Then the parents will tell them, no, sports management is not. Your family is family of engineers. You have to do only this. Then there's a pressure from the family. There is pressure from the peer. There is pressure from everywhere. And then there is a conscious mind which tells that I don't want to do any of this. I want to do something else. So the moment when you come out of this suffocation is when you will become a great entrepreneur versus a non-entrepreneur.
Yeah. So, coming back to the institution that you've established, Lavon, what is because a lot of things you had already mentioned, you update your curriculum quite frequently, and you also send your faculties for a lot of refresher programs. There is a lot of industry collaboration which happen. So what is the core philosophy which makes your students distinct from the rest? What is it that you do to stay updated? What is that core philosophy that drives Lavon?
So little bit of history of this hotel management as such. Till 1991, 92, I don't know what year, it was considered as a blue-collar job. It became a white-collar job only after 1991 or 92. Till then, the entire government of Ministry of there was no Ministry of Entrepreneurship, Ministry of Tourism considered it as a space to create something cheap labor for hotel industry. And I will not feel bad and I will not regret what I'm telling right now. Ministry was not very clear about where they wanted to take this. For example, let's say now how did this medical and engineering became such a popular thing for Malayalis? How it became like that? Because there was an entrepreneur, there was an owner who started a factory. You wanted people to run this factory. So they created a space where I can teach someone to be a ready engineer. What is that he wanted to create? It was never covered in a curriculum. So this honor, or let's say a consortium of people came together and told, you know what, the gap is in building, gap is in electronic and electrical engineering, where we don't have people to run this space. Let's create manpower in terms of education. Exactly, that is what is happening in this world, especially in India, especially in Kerala, where the education is being provided for a strategic movement, a strategic space that is being created by someone together. And I never wanted to follow that knowledge. I wanted to create knowledge. I was not happy to teach an A plus B the whole square every day. I wanted to teach other things also that I have contributed to the world. So Lavon is a space like that. Lavon was created to disseminate world-class knowledge in India, because there was a lot of brain drain that was happening. Whoever is going abroad, there was no school that time. Everyone goes abroad, they will never come back. All my classmates who went to study abroad to study baking science and pastry, they are still there. They are citizens of UK, citizens of New Zealand and Australia and so on and so forth. No one has come back. Now, when am I going to make this happen for my fellow Indians? When 2006, when I graduated and I want to do an extension of the master program abroad, that time, the course fee was 60 lakhs for the program. Only the course fee. Accommodation
for the masters alone?
Not even a master's. It's a 9 months program.
Oh.
60 lakhs. All put together, 1 crore 10 lakhs it will come in 2005, sir. When you compare that now, it will be easily 4 crores.
Yeah.
4 crores plus.
Yeah.
When you get this money back, if you come back to India, you will never make this money. They are forced to stay back. And again, it is a part of a strategy. I never wanted to follow someone's strategy. I want to create a strategy. So Lavon is a place where to create world-class education in terms of baking and pastry, and to make baking and pastry one of those first choice careers in the country. And that's our vision is. And how are we doing this? We are also the coach for Team India. We are coach for Mondial Dupa, World Skills International, and so on and so forth. And now we have students from across the world who want to study, because our education is not even 1/10 of the course fee that others charge across the world. But if who is going to build this cat, right? I decided to build this cat. And that's how the Lavon is born.
You've also got exposure from Malaysia. You've had mentorship from France. How has that global exposure and experience helped you to customize and curate an institution like Lavon?
All these experiences put together is what Lavon is. The best of the best practices across the world plus also some of the best teaching and learning practices of India combined together is what the curriculum is. So I'm very grateful to everyone who mentored me, who decided to share that knowledge, though it was difficult for them to share. For example, I'm just telling there was a pate. I don't know whether you know what a pate is. Pate is a paste, but it is made out of goose liver, and it is a delicacy in France. And now I was in the station, and every day chef will make. We have to practice. Whatever the chef makes, it is like butter in your mouth. When we make, it will be like a lump in your mouth. And then I'm behind this chef. Chef, how did you make this? How did you make it? So he said, okay, do one thing. You make dinner for me. I will teach you how to make my pate, my way. I'm making dinner for him that night. He didn't tell me the secret.
Is that Chef Antonio?
Texira.
Okay.
I'm behind him. It took 1.5 years for me to tell me on the day I was coming back to India, is when he told, come here, Baga. I'll tell you what. I just soaked the liver in milk for 1 day.
Okay.
To tell that, he took 1.5 years. So I'm grateful. If you would have told me that moment in 30 seconds, how long I took? 5 seconds to tell that it has to be soaked in milk, right? If you'd have told me that moment, then I wouldn't have taken this knowledge as a valuable knowledge. I'm just talking about pate. I mean, just to make people understand, or just to make you understand what exactly I feel about it. But knowledge is not something should be free. It should be earned. Like if you go back to the earlier versions of the university, it was always like that. Yeah. So now encapsulate into one single module called as human resource management is something which you don't have a free space to do your creative part of it. So we are committed to bring out the best of you when you are in my academy, and that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah.
So all these mentors help me to understand how this knowledge has to be disseminated to your fellow learners. And you are a lifetime learner. What you know is lesser than 1% of this entire global knowledge that you have. 1% is a lot. On the day when you die, if you have that 1%, you are so lucky. So there are easiest way to get this knowledge also, but that won't sustain. So mentors, I'm very grateful to everyone who guided me, starting from the teachers whom I met in Bangalore. That also, I'm from Kerala. I'm going to Bangalore. That's a new space altogether, exploring things. Everyone who helped me, being good or bad, everything was an experience. Every bit was an experience. Example, I don't know whether you have gone through this, but first time ever I'm going after 12th. It says Hosur Road, right? Mm-hmm. Christ University, Christ College. Yeah. It was a Christ College when I joined. It says Hosur Road. The bus reached Hosur, and I thought that Hosur Road is like walk away. So I got down in Tamil Nadu, thinking that it is just a 5 minutes to the it's in 2 different states altogether. From that learning that is my first ever learning. I was coming, so Hosur bumped, so I'm coming back from Hosur to Hosur Road to attend this interview. My purse was pickpocketed. The entire money that I had to be there, and it is gone. Now, what is the way forward? You finish this interview, and then what to do? You have a bus in the evening. You finished at 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock, whatever it is, and your bus is at 8:30 back to Kerala, back to Kochi. There comes one of the angels that I ever met. He said that you take rest. You don't have to pay. Don't worry, you stay in this hotel. He gave me a wash and change room, food. He dropped me to
Yes.
I'm still in touch with him. Don't you think it's a learning? Everything is a learning, sir. Every day, what good things that happen to me, bad things that happen to me, everything is a learning, and it's a blessing. And it is, I believe in God, and it is His plans that I think and talk like this probably. But I don't believe in a religion per se, but I believe in a supreme power. He's guiding this entire episode for me. If I'm talking about this in this interview, I mean, probably that is also his plan.
Another thing which I felt is creativity is something which is needed in this space. But creative eccentricity is something which is very difficult to handle.
Correct.
But when you have creativity at the same time, the craft of commercializing it is when you become an entrepreneur. That's a lethal kind of combination. So how do you strike that balance of creating something, innovating, developing, at the same time commercialize and scale it and make it sustainable? How have you done that in your journey?
I think, thank you so much for asking me that question. Why? Because everyone thinks that success happens just like that.
Overnight, yeah.
Overnight or just like that. Yeah. Everyone thinks that you don't have to put effort to be successful. But in order to be successful, as I said before, the challenges of 2012 was never the challenge of 2016, nor the challenge going to be in 2027. Now, until unless you don't do your research, unless you don't come out of your perception about the food or creating something new, thinking that it is very complacent, and you don't work towards it, then you lost the plot. So if there is a paragon, if there is a Hotel Taj in the world, or let's say there is a Marriott's in the world, which has the highest number of rooms in the world, if they are successful, because they are doing their research in a continuous way. There is a department itself who is doing the research and development in terms of brand building, in terms of product, in terms of what the teaching and learning are. For example, I'm telling, we included digital learning, how to use Instagram, how to use Facebook, how to click pictures, what to write, what not to write for Instagram as a chapter. It's a module at Lavon.
Okay.
Don't you think it is
needed,
relevant?
Yeah.
But how many of them will do a research to understand that this is what it is required in today's knowledge dissemination process?
You meant to say the traditional, conventional academic spaces.
Correct.
Yeah.
For example, let's say why is that we have to wear a suit inside a classroom? Why? I can understand in a place like France, in UK, where the weather is extremely cold, the suit makes some difference. Why can't people be comfortable inside the classroom?
In a learning space.
In a learning space where you are not being judged by what they wear, how they are wearing, when they are wearing. The moment when you get out of your stereotype thought process of rigid teaching and learning practices is when the creativity starts. For that, you need two mindsets. One mindset to get rid of 2027, your knowledge dissemination has to be different from, you cannot teach. For example, let's say in 2003, in the economics class, the teacher asked me, what is law of diminishing marginal utility? Because I was talking to one of my classmates. I stood up, he said, write imposition. Write 5 times. Law of diminishing marginal utility. I didn't write. I said, why should I write? It is already there in the book, right? Why should I write? Then at one point I was forced to write this. And I remember this as, Additional benefit which a person derives from a given increase of a stock of a thing diminishes with every increase of the stock of it. But I don't know what does this mean. I don't know where to apply this. Now, application of a theory, of a research, is what the true education is. That is when you accumulate knowledge. So this is what we try to do in Lavon. Now you have a team who is constantly thinking about researching and creating new product, and that itself is a discipline by itself. What we do with the students, we take them to the local market at 6 a.m. Not every day, one of the module I'm talking about, and then we give them a budget of 200 rupees. They have to get this ingredient. Every student will get one instructor as a mentor and create this ingredient, convert this ingredient into something beautiful. And now, out of this 100 products that has been created, which cost you 200 rupees plus whatsoever it is, because that only one ingredient is 200 bucks. Now, the best of the ingredients get into our shelf. So, it is a learning.
It's an experiential learning.
It's an experiential learning. Now, we have another program called a chocolate program, where it starts in a farm. 2 weeks, they are in a farm.
Right.
They eat village food. They learn how to ride bullock carts. They will get all the cocos.
The cocoa
program. Yeah. They cut open, convert the cocoa into a chocolate. The chocolate comes to Bangalore. Next 2 weeks in Bangalore, they will learn how to convert this raw chocolate into something meaningful and product. The world's first program. Now a college in United States wants to send the students for this program. Now it's all started out of a thought process where not to innovate, but the need of the hour was to think differently from what it has been taught in a classroom. But inside a classroom, that is not going to be possible. So now, if you are going to teach me where to use this pi and con theta and all that, according to the learning style that I have, that is when. So, for example, let's say in a classroom, a 1 hour classroom, there is something for the visual learners, there is something for the auditory learners, and there is something for the kinesthetic learner, and that's how we teach our theories.